We've done this dance for so long. Like The View?
Batman Hush is widely regarded as one of the finest comic book storylines in the Dark Knight's 80-year history. It's surprising it's taken DC this long to give Hush the animated movie treatment, but DC has finally corrected that omission. Better yet, this adaptation actually improves upon some of the flaws of the source material, even if it makes its own mistakes in the process. Hush is a largely straightforward adaptation of Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee's original story. As in the comic, the movie pits Batman against many of his most famous foes, with both the Dark Knight and his villains being manipulated by a mysterious bandaged villain named Hush. Further complicating matters is the renewed romance between Batman and Catwoman. Can Bruce truly open himself up to this former enemy-turned-lover? And if he does, will she just become another liability in the war against Hush? Hush is very much a popcorn blockbuster-style Batman story. While there is the central mystery of Hush's true identity and relationship to Bruce Wayne, the emphasis is generally more on superhero action and the appeal of seeing so many fan-favorite heroes and villains crammed into one story. That's to say nothing of the epic showdown between Batman and Superman, easily their most memorable duel since The Dark Knight Returns. Fans can rest easy knowing that and many other iconic moments from the comic have survived intact. The Batman-Catwoman romance is easily the other major selling point of this story. If Hush does anything well, it's conveying the troubled history between the two characters and the doomed, desperate longing they share for one another. That passion doesn't always come across as well as it should in Jason O'Mara and Jennifer Morrison's delivery. For whatever reason, the pitch-perfect voice casting of DC's various animated TV projects rarely translates to these movies. Visually, Hush employs the same house style that should be familiar to fans of the DC animated movie universe by now. It's a style that gets the job done in terms of tone and action, but rarely stands out in the process. Given how central Jim Lee's art is to the success of the comic, that may be this adaptation's biggest shortcoming. The movie also skips over the comic's lush, painted flashback scenes entirely, preventing Hush from a valuable opportunity to break from the visual norm. On the plus side, Hush does a far better job of wrangling a sprawling 12-issue comic into a lean 80-minute movie than expected. While it does lose some story material in the process, Hush manages to juggle the comic's large cast with surprising grace, considering how poorly some of these animated adaptations have fared in the past. Certain tweaks are made along the way, mainly a handful of cut plot threads and a few concessions to the animated movie universe continuity. But other than a nagging sense that a certain long-lost figure from Bruce's past is even less well-developed in the movie than he is in the comic, these changes do little to impact the flow of the story. In fact, the movie actually manages to use the fact that it takes place directly after the recent The Death of Superman, Reign of the Supermen duology to its advantage. Batman Hush falls victim to the same flaws as most of the DC Animated Universe movies line when it comes to the generic animation and voice work. But in terms of its story, this is one of the more engaging animated DC movies to come along in a while. It's surprisingly faithful to the source material, even as it crams a winding narrative and a large ensemble cast into a tight 80-minute movie. The final act even manages to improve on that source material, trimming many of the comic's unnecessary plot twists and arriving at a more satisfying and conclusive ending.
Hush, Batman. Hush.
For more reviews, check out what we thought of The Lion King and Spider-Man Far From Home, and as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.